You talk about a championship level performance by Jackson State Tigers. You saw it out there tonight. 4 quarters of just doing what we do, and that's trying to find ways to finish games. And I thought in the first half, we allowed them to stay in the game. We had opportunities to separate as a football team, and that's what I told them at the half, you know. But hats off to them and Eddie Robinson and that team. You know, they came in here to upset us on homecoming, but, you know, the will that I seen this football team play with tonight, you know, just refused to lose that game. And I can't say enough about it. And I've been bragging on this team. I've been saying they're just as good, if not better, than the team from last year. And you saw it tonight. I mean, Andrew Body is a heck of a football player. Hats off to him. He's a heck of a quarterback, but I feel good about my quarterback too. And he played his butt off tonight too as well. But talking about the defense, well, there's 3 big plays at the end of that game for the offense to find a way to go down there and score. Then we do what we do. We had a penalty, backed up, and G-Baby, you know, almost kicks it. I mean, he gets it down there to about the 15, and I think he does a good job of covering. Defense came out there and battled that last drive. You know, I still believe this team is led by our defense, and you know they found a way to get us that win tonight. You know, the refs 6 seconds on the clock. Everybody drops back a pass, makes a great throw. You know, I think in the game over our entire sideline did, but they put 1 second up there. I think the ball was like on the 2-3 yard line. I mean, it's unheard of. You got one of the better offensive players in the conference, you know, on the 1 yard line, and our defense told me to calm down. You know, they told me to calm down, and you know they were going to go out there and get it done, and they did. It's just like on the drive that we scored to go up. Jacobian comes running to me after the timeout, and he said, "Coach, I got to play." You know, he made that call that he threw the touchdown to Nate. I'm gonna just sit here and be honest with you. So, you know, that's what our leaders do. That's what these 2 guys are. I can't say enough about the team, though. Great win. It's homecoming. I'm ready to go home and enjoy, but I'll take this one and look forward to this bye week.
Charles Bishop, Dr. Bills, inside the HBCU Sports Side. Kobe, I'm going to start with you. And just walk us through that play to me.
Like Coach said, went to the sideline. I felt good about what I seen the previous play. Just wanted to hold the safety so I can bang it to Nick. And he just made a play. Like I say, my job easy. All I got to do is put it around my guys, and I have full faith that they're going to come down with it.
Coach, when you have a game like this, in terms of a championship caliber game, what does it do for the team in terms of going forward the rest of the season?
Shoot, it lets us know we're ready for December. You know, it lets us know in those big moments our team is going to respond. You know, the thing that was shocking also, you know, I've been on about finding ways to overcome penalties, and we've been getting away with it. But that was a good football team. We had some key penalties in this game as well, but we overcame those plays. But, you know, again, I told them just now you guys are ready to finish the season because you're battle tested. You know, you're a battle tested bunch, and, you know, sure, if you finish this game against the Alabama State team, you know, if you finish this game against the Alabama State team, I told them you're going to be sore on Sunday morning. It's always a physical football game when we play.
Coach, you're going to commit to Convos. What's your initial thought on that?
Pick them up, you know, keep them going, because I know the football game wasn't over. There was still time on the clock. And the thing about it, Jamil has been playing great football. He made a heck of a play in the first half, and you know he's been playing great football. But hats off to them, they found a way to create a turnover. But I just had to pick them up and let them know you're gonna have to keep going. You know, this game's not over.
How you doing, Coach? Great to see you. Great win. Just that 1 second that came down to the game. You know, they put that 1 second back on the clock. You talk about your defense. The team is led by the defense.
Yeah.
Were you confident in the defense that they were going to finish this game out?
I was just chasing the refs. I was just trying to figure out how in the world did he have 6 seconds to hold it, throw it, travel through the air, catch it, and that. But then, like I said, by the time I settled down and come back over there, I'm looking where the spot of the ball at, and I looked at a couple guys and said, "Coach, we got this." You know, and that's when I just got quiet and walked to the other end and let them do what they do. You know, and let's play football.
Coach, did the refs give you any sort of explanation on what happened?
I don't know. No comment.
Quincy, 2-part question. When you came up with the interception, I mean, you had to be thrilled about that. Like, what was going to do in your mind?
Keep my feet under me. We played some blitz, so I was trying to make the quarterback, and he obviously threw it to the boundary.
And then on that last play, like you and Ashton almost had to be in the right place at the right time to make sure that everybody doesn't score, the runback doesn't get to you know, like what was your thought process in that moment?
We were on the sideline. They put 1 second on the clock. We knew the ball was going to be in my hands. So once he made the play, we just had to fill out next time.
And Kobe, you played on this team last year when you won the championship. Hearing your coach talk about this is championship caliber type of play, how do you compare this type of moment to some of the moments you guys went through last year in your quest for championship?
Don't compare this feeling you can never get over to. Last year had the same type of game where it's come down to the wire. You know, every time you face up on stage, it's gonna be a battle. So just going out there getting the job done, that's just what had to happen.
Kobe, and I see you repping your rings there.
That's
This winning this game right here kind of give you the green light that you could add another one to your hands.
And we still got games ahead of us, but we for sure ring chasing.
Coach, you coined the phrase last season, "we fence," and when you take a look at today, offense did what they needed to do, defense. But talk about the fan base in terms of what they provided on that last drive.
Yeah, I mean, what y'all say, they turned up. They turned up. I mean, it's homecoming. You know what I'm saying, Chucky? And shoot, packed house out there. And, you know, they want to go to Atlanta too. You know, they're trying to be in Atlanta too. But, you know, we fed off that energy. You know, when Jacobian threw the touchdown, I mean, I couldn't hear myself talking there. You know, and then, like I said, when the defense got on the field and you looked around, you know, the energy was up, the band was into it, everybody was into it. Just an entire championship type atmosphere today in the fourth quarter, throughout the whole game.
Coach, this was obviously a very emotional game for you. You kind of had some emotional moments right after, right? I mean, other than winning the championship, winning the SWAC championship, where would you rank this one in terms of like the feeling you felt after knowing like 0-0 was on the clock?
Man, I just want to go home and rest. You know, I'm glad to have a bye. But no, I told the guys last night at dinner, I talked about in 2001, my homecoming in my last year here playing against Alabama State. And they beat us 61-58. You know, we had the opportunity to win the game at the end. You know, it was a drop pass on our end with no time on the clock. I think Robert Kent threw for 600 yards. I had over 200 yards receiving, you know, 14 catches. And tonight, I think this topped it. You know, I remember the feeling that night, you know, but tonight, like, this is one of the biggest wins in my career as a head coach. And just playing the game, you know, just to see the look on, like you said, Chuck, these fans' face, and being a JSU Tiger, it's nothing like that. You know, my players, the coaches, just the excitement. You know, we here. You know, the road to the SWAC championship is going to run through Jackson, Mississippi.
Kobe, you talked about the brotherhood that this team is building. How did that come out, and the trust that you all had in the defense when they had to go back out there a second time?
Defense wins championship, so you automatically knowing when it's the defense in the last play of the game, we feeling good, like Coach said. Defense is who we lean on. You know, I got full faith in my guys. If it was on the 1, 2, 3 inches away, that they're gonna get the job done.
Can you just talk about the resilience overall of your team? They just never quit. They kept up that momentum throughout it, even when they were down. Just touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we seen back in training camp when the defense going against the offense. You know, the battles we have out there be just as good as some of these games. You know, and I'm serious to say that. Serious. I mean, King, you've seen it. Chuck, you've seen it as well at our practices, and that's why we're so ready for these type moments. You know, we create those situations in these type games. But you know, again, like I said, this is a resilient bunch. The thing that I like about it, every week is somebody new stepping up. You know, the injuries hadn't really bothered us. It's just like the next man up type mentality. So, and that's what you want in a championship type team. You know, when you got the next man up, that guy that's on the second, third guy on the depth chart. You know, Donovan went out there and did some field goal kicking for us tonight. You know, he's come out of nowhere. And G-Baby, you know, Baszler is an all-conference guy. You know, anytime you can just have players continue to step up and continue to make plays. You know, this year alone, Quincy Ivory, nobody heard about him last year. Now he's, you know, an All-American type performer right now as a defensive player. So, you know, it's just the resiliency of this team, this coaching staff, and everybody that's around this program right now. Yeah.
Listen, this being your first year here, what's kind of your reaction hearing the coach talk about this is championship caliber play with championship type moments?
I've been doing this since I was in January. I just had to buy into the coaching, and I see that it's very, very much real.
Last question for me. This team has had success against Andrew Bynum prior to this game. I wanted to ask, just looking at his maturation at this point in his career, going against him.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I've seen him, this is the third time? I think this is the third time we played against him. You steady see him stacking days and getting better. He does a great job of carrying that football team over there. You know, as he go, they go. And, you know, I saw him when he was younger, and, you know, he had the injury last year. For him to come back and respond and playing the way that he plays, that kid is a warrior. You know, and I told him that, you know, I think a lot of him, he took some big hits tonight and was getting up off the ground. He did everything in his power to win that football game tonight. So hats off to him.
Jacqie, I know you're not necessarily worried about the stats as much as the win, but 5 touchdowns, I mean, it's homecoming. How do you take in that performance? I mean, I know the rings kind of give it all, but I mean, how do you take in that performance?
Thank God. That's it. Thank God.
We're good.
All right, guys, that was a great win for the Jackson State Tigers. They came and they did what they had to do. They were able to win that game, but also they were able to kind of put to rest some of the negative talk about the Jackson State Tigers. I don't know why. They are one of the best teams, one of the best prepared teams in all of FCS. And congratulations to Coach T.C. Taylor, as well as Jacqie Morgan with his 5 touchdowns. Guys, think about that. And that last strike to Nate Rembrandt, that was just one for the ages and something that people will always remember, and he would always remember how the Jackson State Tigers were able to vanquish Alabama State and win. Could be winning the SWAC East. I'm pretty sure they continue on this track that they win. Let's just go over our HBC Legends top 10 for week 7. Of course, Jackson State is on top. North Carolina Central moves into the 2nd spot. Then you have South Carolina State at number 3, Alabama State number 4, Prairie View at number 5. Delaware State, these guys put up over, was it 700 yards of offense yesterday in their homecoming win. And I think that was the first homecoming win for the Hornets for many years. So congratulations to Coach Jack and those guys. Virginia Union, they keep on winning. The Panthers are at number 7 in our book. Texas Southern moves up to number 8, Benedict 9, and Howard drops down to number 10. If you guys got any thoughts on who your top 10, we'd love to hear that. Our national players of the week was Athian Renfro as well as Chris Mosley. The 2 running backs had excellent days, but as far as James Jones, also, he was one of the guys that we had to be able to put up there. James Jones rushed 3 times, get this, 3 times and 158 yards of rushing. He had 52.7 yards per rush average. That's just amazing. So, and the Texas Southern running back, Renfro, he rushed 18 times for 152 yards. And I know Jackson State Tigers are probably saying, why isn't it Jacqie Morgan up there? Well, Jacqie was our national player of the week for last week. But this week, guys, let these other young men get a bite on what's going to be the national players of the week. So Jacqie Morgan had an excellent day. Here are some of the standout performers. Curtis Allen for Virginia Union, 187 yards. Wow. He pounded Elizabeth City. Walker Harris at NCCU, 21 of 27 passing for 278 yards. And then we have here Jacqie Morgan, his 5 touchdowns, 191 yards. He also added 66 yards rushing. Now, the critical thing about that, the rushing yardage really helped the Tigers in critical situations where they needed to get first downs. Morgan, he was helping those guys get the dub. They got the dub. Andrew Body, I think he has to be one of the first quarterbacks in a long time to amass 349 passing yards, plus he added 93 yards rushing on the day against a Jackson State defense. Chris Mosley, we talked about earlier. Chance Peterson for NCCU had 104 yards, and the wideout for Virginia Union had 174 yards. And Mr. Dupree for Jackson State. Of course, you guys know he is Marcus Dupree's grandson. He had a great day as well. So just a little bit about our guys, and we're going to go into the interview now with Edwin Moses. Don't forget to follow us at HBCU Legends. You can go to hbculegends.net and follow all of the articles on our site for SI. All right, let's get Edwin Moses into the queue. Let's go. All right, HBCU Legends fans, it's Kyle T. Mosley here with a very, very special installment. And, you know, we love to bring you guys the legends of HBCU sports, but also the legends in sports in its entirety. No better person than to have here than two-time gold medalist, a Morehouse man, and he is bringing us new ideas and insight into his regimen and how he got to be where he is with his new movie, 13 Steps, is none other than Edwin Moses. How you doing, Edwin?
All right, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, look, I always tell people there were 3 reasons why I attended Morehouse. And when the recruiter got me in the New Orleans Superdome, he said, "Hey, do you know Dr. King?" Of course I know Dr. King. Do you know Julian
Bond?
Bond? Yes, I know Julian Bond. Did you know Edwin Moses went to Morehouse? He does, really. And I just was blown away. And I only applied for 2 schools, Morehouse and Prairie View. Got into both. I was on my way to Atlanta, man. Yeah. So you're partly the reason why I attended Morehouse College. So it's good to have you on board. And you have this new movie, 13 Steps, and I want everybody to be aware of it. Just talk a little bit about what was behind the concept behind 13 Steps and why it's so relevant still to this particular day.
Well, 13 Steps is, of course, the 13 steps that I took between the hurdles. But I wanted to have a documentary movie done that was authentic, that really went back into my history. And it turned out to be a real time capsule of the life of a young African-American boy that grew up unrecruitable, went to Morehouse, 3 years later became Olympic champion. But it also talks about family, my family background from an academic family. Father was a Tuskegee Airman, elementary school principal. Mom was a curriculum advisor for the Dayton Public Schools. And telling the story of how I got to Morehouse, a little bit about track and field, and tell a very positive story of an African-American family, such as the one that I grew up in. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, back in the 60s and 70s. And people are really astounded when I tell them that I grew up in a day in which every Black family that I knew had both a mother and a father. We didn't have teenage pregnancies. We didn't have a lot of nonsense because, you know, corporal punishment was in.
Yeah.
Kids were very disciplined. Those of us who were lucky enough to come from families who really promoted academics and whatnot went to college. And in Dayton, Ohio, everyone had jobs, of course, because there was Dayton Tire, Monsanto, General Motors, NCR, all these different companies. So everyone was working, and the family, African-American family structure was intact. So I came from this environment. I wanted my story to start and reflect that, and also then talk about what happened at Morehouse, my genesis as a world-class athlete, how that started, how it continued for a long time with the winning streak. And fortunately, I was able to get and recruit and have a lot of colleagues of mine and yours from Morehouse. Spike Lee's in the film, Sam Jackson's in the film.
Wow.
Michael Johnson's in the film. Tommy Smith has been a personal friend of mine. We go back all the way to 1968 and talk about what I saw as a 13-year-old of the '68 Olympics. Neil deGrasse Tyson is in the film.
Wow.
It's just loaded with people, and they are helping me to tell my story.
Yeah, you got some heavyweights there to help you tell your story.
They're helping me to tell my story. They're telling my story from their perspective, and it really, really works. It's an objective documentary. It's not. It's archivally. It's they won an award for best archival use of film in a documentary over in Europe from the Archival Society.
Congrats.
Very historical. We talk about '68 Olympics, what happened to Tommy Smith. We start with I even go back and talk about what happened in the '60s from the presidential assassination of John Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm X, Dr. King, all of these people, and the impact that it had on a 13, 14-year-old kid, and how it evolved my trajectory to even get to Morehouse and then to become an Olympic champion. So it's a time capsule of my life, but it's a time capsule of what was going on in the world during that time. So it's more than a documentary about running. And then it shows a lot of running too. and my win streak, how it started, how it ended, everything that happened in between, helping to design the out of competition drug testing, making it possible for athletes to make money in track and field, getting the rules changed all the way up to the IOC level. It's a film that was never going to be done unless I found the right people to do it. And that's what I did. And that's why you're able to see Moses' 13 steps.
Wow. How long did it take you from concept until actually getting with the producers or the people to help you make it? How long did that take? What was that process like?
I had it in my business plan as early as 1997.
Okay.
In 2007, I have a friend of mine who lives here in Washington, D.C., that is a filmmaker who specialized in documentaries. We had a whole budget. We had everything written out on paper in terms of the budget, what it would take for everything having to do with the documentary. That was 2007. And also I hired a friend of mine who was a reporter for a Swiss newspaper to come and interview me, and had all that transcripted. That turned out to like 350 pages of original transcript for the documentary and the book. And then it wasn't until 2019 or 20 that I was put in contact with Broadview TV, which is a German bespoke documentary company. And I started talking with them, having interviews with them, with their director, and that's when we started the original screenplay. It took about a year to do that. And then it took another 3 years to actually start shooting, do the research, hire the team, get the financing, and do the whole film. So it's a German production, comes out of Germany, financed by WDR Networks, and there's a consortium of people that finance films and series, documentaries all over the world. And so I found the right people to do the film, because a lot of my running history comes out of Germany, with running against their national hero, Harold Schmidt, who was my contemporary, that we ran against each other like year after year. So yeah, I found the right people to do it. Started 97, 2007, and we really got started about 2019. So it was 20 plus years.
That's incredible. 30 plus years. All right. So it's incredible that you stuck with it, but you also have a great message that a lot of people need to hear. And I was talking to my son, he's 20 now, and I was saying, hey, do you know who Edwin Moses is? He said, yeah, 13 steps. He was the one who came up with the, instead of 14 steps to me, get over the hurdles, figured out how to do it in 13 steps. That's like, wow. I was very impressed with him. But the thing about what you're talking about, you talked about your home life, the society around you in Dayton, going to Morehouse, attending a great college with very influential people, and every Tuesday we had chapel. So we heard a lot of influential people to come in and pour into us as well, right? The thing is, with all the history and all the legacy that has been poured into you, how do you want to continue to pour into young people going forward to let them know it's not just about track and field and sport, but let them know that our society is important and we have a role to play in our society.
That's one of the main reasons that I wanted the film to be the way that it was done. I was insistent upon talking about what I saw as a 13-year-old and how we were much more politically involved, because back then, late 60s, 70s, you're talking about 10, 12 years after the Civil Rights Act, which was 1960, 64, 65, Civil Rights and Voting Act.
Exactly.
So I'm talking about 1973 when I graduated from high school, 8-9 years, after that. So Tommy Smith, 1968, I graduated 5 years later from high school. The wound was open when it came to that. What happened? The whole civil rights era, being one of the first kids to have to be bused in Dayton, to desegregate the schools. My mom and dad being involved in an organization of diverse teachers who wanted the school system to be non-segregated and diverse. So every time I walked out of house to school, got on the bus to go to school, I was seeing, change in front of my eyes and seeing how people reacted, how people were changing. And so I wanted the film to really reflect that, and all the way up to today. And I think we were successful in doing that, bringing in those elements that some major networks might not want to include in a film on Edwin Moses.
Exactly.
I was happy to really find a production company that wanted to do the film on my own, because I personally don't think it would have been done had I relied on, a green light from some of these companies that do it now, because it's a very different documentary. So far, we have been in 12. This is the 13th film festival that I'm here.
Okay.
West. Out of the 12 that we've been in so far, we've won awards in 9. So
congratulations.
The highly acclaimed. We won awards in the Czech Republic, in France, in Italy, San Diego Film Festival, just all over the world. So we're 9 out of 12 in terms. So the film is very highly regarded. I've taken it to universities in Idaho, Utah, Tennessee, much more conservative states with less diverse audiences, and they enjoyed the film too, because it brought some of the elements in from the civil rights movement, some of the things that people have forgotten about. And the crowds were a little bit older, so there were a lot of great gray-haired people that really, really enjoyed the film, because they had obviously forgotten, what the struggle had been like and why the country has been going in the direction that it had been going in up until now, in a much more positive
tone.
Much more positive tone for everyone. So for them to have to see and have to realize that we're actually relitigating some of the things that happened in the 60s and 70s, they really appreciate it. So I've gotten kudos from very conservative audiences, because it makes them have to go back and redigest some of the things that make have made this country, what it is for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And you were in some pivotal situations as well when it came to the games that was going to be in Russia, and you miss out on an opportunity to win gold there. I know we had the summer games. I think it was in LA at that time.
84 was in LA. 76 was Montreal, and we didn't go to Moscow.
Right, didn't go to Moscow. But your impact as an athlete in the HBCU realm, especially, is very, very rare that we have track and field athletes do what you were able to accomplish. At that moment when you were doing it in the 70s at Morehouse, how well received were you, and what impact did you have on those athletes just in like the SIAC?
I was like a god, but I was very low key because I was always busy. My first job was physics. People ask me today, did you pledge? What fraternity did you pledge? I said I was in the SPS.
Exactly.
It was SPS. I said Society of Physics.
Hey, but Edwin.
So they love me, but I don't think that Well, Morehouse, we didn't have a track when I was running. Yeah, we didn't have a stadium or anything. So
Where did you practice?
I ran down Fair Street, up North Side Drive, back down Westview in the mornings at 6 o'clock. Adams Park. We practiced out at Lakewood.
Yeah.
Or Avondale, Oglethorpe, Georgia Tech, wherever I could break into a track.
Wow.
I was jumping over fences back then for the whole 5 years I was at Morehouse.
Get out of here.
I was very humble. I didn't have time to have an ego because I was either studying or hustling to find a track. So that kept me stabilized, kept my head on the ground. I think that's why I was able to be successful for many, many years, because I never had an inflated head. I never had the big head because everything was always a struggle.
Yeah. Look, you and I have a lot of parallels, but I wasn't the great athlete like you. I'm a chemistry major from Morehouse, so I got my degree. And I grew up with two-parent household. My mom was an educator for 40 years, taught mostly second grade.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was a juvenile probation officer. So getting in trouble was not an option.
Big Daddy doesn't play, I'm sure.
Exactly. Ex-military Navy. So think about it, man.
Yeah, I know.
But my brother, he tried them all the time. But anyway, I say this to say what you say. The society has changed and we're in a different era. The tone right now has been as positive as I know and you know it could be, especially from the days of Barack Obama. But when we look at companies like Netflix and these other streaming services, do you think they will be receptive in picking up your documentary and viewing it for people?
Yeah, I think right now we're in a period where, and I've talked to a lot of film directors and producers, everything is moving real slow in terms of picking up these documentary properties. But mine is, as I said, critically acclaimed all over the world. We've won awards all over the world, 9 out of 12 of the film festivals that we've been in. I've showed it at quite a few universities. People are really, they've told me that they really need to see more documentaries done the way that this is done.
Yeah.
It's not a documentary that's, what do they call it? Just I forget the term, but it's not a documentary that's made to make you feel good. It's not a documentary that's just done because it can be done. And it's giving you the information that you know already with the addition of a lot of footage. It's an academic, historical documentary. Our real window is up until the 2028 Olympics. It was ready for Paris in 2024, but we didn't press it. We put it out in front of people, but we feel like by the year 2028 with the Olympics here in LA, we'll be able to get a distribution deal. It's been on television in Germany, on the equivalent of what would be our PBS, WDR network. It's streaming right now. You know, if you have a VPN, you can pick it up in Germany.
I do. Okay. You
can just go to Germany, VPN, and just put in Edwin Moses 13 Steps. It'll come up. You can watch it.
Oh,
but it's not.
That's great to know.
And it's shown on the nightly TV program in Germany about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
September 3rd, I think the whole country saw the film.
All right. I need to connect you with Urban Edge Network. I'm pretty sure they would love to be able to pick that up and try to help you out in streaming and monetize it as well. Morehouse and other HBCUs or other Black colleges in the U.S., have they shown any interest to be able to help promote the film as well?
I showed it at Fort Valley State 2 weeks ago. We had about 250 students and faculty members, the president, whatnot. It was the first time I've been on their campus. I didn't realize they had like 1,500 acres. They could put like 6 or 7, maybe 10 AU centers on their campus.
Yeah, it's huge out there.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we had a good, I've showed it at, so far, Morehouse, Fort Valley. I've been on the road and traveling. I really haven't hit the HBCU circuit yet, but all the people are quite aware of the film. It's just a matter of me finding the time and getting to the right people to show them the film. But that's my initial target audience. I want it to be for students who are in a position where they're looking out at the world while the world is looking back at them, and helping it make sense from a guy who went through some of these things at 18, 19 years old, 40 years ago, 50 years ago now.
Well, look, man, I've always been proud of you,
Thank you.
what you were able to accomplish. And I remember the race that you finally lost the streak. I was in tears, man.
It's in the film too. It's in the film too.
Yeah. Wow.
Have you seen the film yet? Have you seen it yet?
I have not been able to see the film. So when you said about using your VPN, I will go and stream it tonight.
I'll send you a link.
Thank you. Thank you. But I'm going to say this. I have connections with, because I'm in Houston now, I have connections with Rice, University of Houston, Prairie View, as well as Texas Southern. And I'm pretty sure I can get some of those guys in those, especially U of H with that track and field department, be interested in showing your film out there as well.
Yeah. I've been so busy since the film came out that I have not wanted to build up a massive schedule, because I know once it hits, you can have 3 or 4 of those events a month. And I haven't been willing to be on the road that much with all the international travel that I do. So it's just a matter of saying, okay, for the next year and a half, I'm going to hit 30 schools.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of doing it that way.
Yeah.
And until then, I'm holding back because I like to get my rest. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I gotta get a power nap in and a beauty rest every now and then.
That's what I was telling somebody. I said, there's nothing wrong with some naps every now and then, Edwin. I come back refreshed. I can be able to write more because I took a nap. And my son just is shaking his head. I said, one day you're gonna learn. You're gonna understand, man. Talk about this. We talked about the film. We talked about your background. When it comes to the U.S. team, track and field, looks like they're resurging. They're getting back into, I wouldn't say dominance, but they're putting on a better product than 10 years ago. How do you see that? Have they approached you or tried to work with you for getting some advice, especially with the hurdles?
No, not at all. I think, track and field in the United States has always been dynamic. Most years we do very well in world championships, Olympic games, by definition. If it's not one event, it's another. It might be women's long jump this time. It could be, 1,500 meters the next. So we always will, because of our system, we always will win a lot of medals. So it really hasn't changed that much. I think they won 1 or 2 more gold medals than before, but that's not unusual. The number's always been creeping up. Yeah. We always have a great pool of athletes to choose from, and every 4 to 6 years there's a changing of the guard, which we saw at the World Championships this year. A lot of the older people who went to Paris at the Olympics didn't even make the team. So it's always like that. It's track and field is like that. It's churning, and if you're not ready or you make a mistake, you're not on the team. So it's really good that our system is built the way it is. But I'm still chairman emeritus of United States Anti-Doping, because of my position in the anti-doping and the athletes come under our testing pool. I have to have a hands-off policy with coaching, being involved with the federation, anything like that. So I've been out of it for probably 15 years.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I watch it on TV. I observe from long distance, and I've worked with a few athletes, especially some of the women's 400-meter hurdlers. I work with them on a just private basis, observing some of their films and saying, I would think about these things, but not heavy coaching.
Gotcha. Yeah. Was Dr. McBay and Dr. Gore and people like that over
Dr.
at Morehouse when you were there?
Who made me change my major from chemistry to physics.
Oh, so you were a chemistry major. All right.
I was more brilliant in chemistry than physics, but I didn't write down the Chicago Graham Moeller technique. I got the answers, but I did it another way. Always got A's on the test. Used to mark A/big red ink F. And so we came to fisticuffs one day about why I wasn't doing well. He said, "You'll never be a chemistry major. I said, don't worry about it. I'm changing my major to physics.
Man, I did not know that, man. Golly. Dr.
But we
McBay,
became very, very good friends after that. I
Yeah.
used to go by his office and just sit down and talk to him. But we were ready to duke it out.
Wow.
I love that man. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. McBay, he was I think I
University of
took
Chicago.
P-Chem from him.
Physical chemistry.
My last year, yeah.
When I was taking quantum physics and quantum mechanics and everything, I was tutoring guys over at AU Center. They were getting a master's in physical chemistry. I was a tutor when I was still studying at Morehouse. And McBay knew about it, and he found out. He said, I never thought you'd make it in chemistry, but I hear you're tutoring my advanced physical chemistry students. And you made something out of yourself, Moses. Even though you're
man, he was a funny man. Yeah, funny, but he has so much knowledge. And
Dr. Gore was my math teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Gore, I had 3 classes under Dr. Gore, and I was telling people that
Bozeman, did you have Bozeman? Was he there then? Dr. Bozeman?
Dr. Bozeman wasn't there. No, I heard about him. No, he wasn't there when I was at Morehouse, because I'm like 11 years behind you, right?
Mrs.
So,
what's her name? Mrs. with the gray hair. Dr. What was her name? She was very, very dark.
The English teacher?
No, mathematics.
No. So when I got to Morehouse, they only had male mathematics teachers.
Dr. Walton.
No, she wasn't there. No.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So, but Dr. Gore, I learned so much on how to understand the theorems about mathematics, how to do the applications.
Absolutely.
And it was funny because when I became a manager of recruiting, I used to put theorems on the board.
Yeah.
He really impacted my life. And I'm telling you, it's the ones who challenge you really, really, you be able to take a lot with you going forward.
Right.
It was unfortunate to hear about his passing last year.
Yeah.
As well. Dr. Story I don't know if you know Troy Story. He was a Morehouse professor in chemistry. He passed away just recently as well.
I heard about him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Edwin, any last thoughts, anything? Because I could talk to you for hours, man. But any last thoughts that you would like to share with the listeners about 13 Steps and the significance of the movie?
I think that I knew that my direction and helping to write the script and being interviewed by the directors from the beginning, all this was confirmed when I went to Fort Valley State. And during that lecture, I told the students, the question and answer went on for like an hour and a half after the film. They were so interested. I wasn't really sure because you never know what the attention span is of these young people today. But they kept me there for an hour and a half, and I came to the conclusion that my vision of making a film for these people, for this demographic, was correct. And I knew that the film had hit because of the response that they got, and also because of the responses that we got out in Idaho, very, very conservative Utah, very conservative Tennessee, where there was mostly white audiences, that they get it too. So we built the film in a way that was going to be reflective of multiple different audiences, about 5 of them in general, including young kids who were interested in just track and field, who didn't know about me, academics, historians, politicians, and scientists. So we hit all that with the film. It's a great film, different type of documentary. It's not fluff film. That was the term I was trying to find. It's not a fluff film. No smoke in your face. It's a really hard-hitting academic, historical, family sports film, all in one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you still residing in Dayton, or
I'm in Atlanta? I'm in
Atlanta. Okay.
I'm in Atlanta.
Because there were a couple of times they had you at Morehouse, and my friend was telling, hey, Edwin's going to be there. And I couldn't get to Morehouse to be able to meet you. I've always wanted to do so.
Yeah, I live in Atlanta, so I've been there since '94, in and out. I've lived in other places at the same time, but I'm in Atlanta. I'm on campus quite a bit, participating with the school in whatever I'm asked to do.
Yeah. Well, we're still privileged to have you, and I appreciate everything you've done. I don't want this to be the last time we have a conversation, and I still would like to help out with 13 Steps in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Now I'll get you details on this end, and then we'll stay in touch. I'll send you the link.
Definitely. And are you active on social media?
Yes.
Tell everybody how they can find you on the World Wide Web.
LinkedIn, you will find me on Edwin Moses. It might be OLY. Facebook is Edwin Moses, OLY. OLY stands for Olympian. It's a designation. Instagram is edwinc.moses, and it has a blue ribbon on it. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. If you can Google my name, I'm going to be the Edwin Moses that comes up first.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Edwin, I really do appreciate that. And guys, don't forget, follow Edwin Moses. Also, we get a chance to be able to preview any of the film, or if I could be able to find extra information about the film for you to be able to attend any of his showings as well, I will post that as well. So thank you, Edwin. We hope everything continues to go well for you. I'm Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends. You can go to HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, and you can follow me personally at KTMOZE on all social media platforms. And you can go to our Sports Illustrated site at hbculegends.net. I'm Kyle T. Mosley. My Morehouse brother, Edwin Moses, is in house. All right. Follow 13 Steps. And Edwin, good luck to you, man.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Kyle T. Mosley here with a person who is our favorite commissioner, and she always brings some great, insightful conversations to HBCU Legends. But in this part, I want to talk about her story, and she has a great story. 13 years now, if I'm not mistaken, now over the CIAA, but she's also, I didn't know this from listening to a previous interview, but she's a Army or a military brat or whatever, right? I think that's what they're called, traveling the world, and she's been able to see a lot of different sites. But guys, if you didn't know, she is a national champion as well when she was with Hampton Pirates, 33-1. We'll talk about that as well. But also we need to talk about what's happening with HBCU football, basketball, and all the sports at the CIAA, and it's none other than Jacqie McWilliams Parker. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, and thank you for always inviting me to come back and have these conversations. It's awesome.
Oh, we've got to have it. I feel like I go through withdrawals. You know how stuff being. I got to talk to Doc.
I love it.
But it happens. But look, when I was looking at the presentation about her story and the 50 years for Title IX, as well as what women in collegiate sports has been able to do, you are ingrained in that fabric, in that quilt of making it happen. But I didn't know how ingrained you were, and I just was kind of blown away. But just talk about from your days of being a youngster, just loving sports. That's all you really wanted to do, just love sports, and making that decision, that faithful decision to not go to a PWI, but you were focused on going to a college where they had some water around. That's what you had to say, right? So Hampton, beautiful campus, beautiful area, beautiful water, scenic water around the area, but you were also impactful with the basketball team. Talk about that.
Yeah, my home by the sea. I was just telling one of my dear friends, I guess my play niece is wanting to go to an HBCU, and of course, I want everybody to go to a CIAA school or Hampton, but to choose an HBCU. It definitely is. It was a blessing for me. There's a lot of places that I could have gone. And back in the day, we didn't have all the resources we have to do research. We literally had to go to the library or pull out the encyclopedia that you had at your house and open it up and find it on the app. And I had some great mentors in high school, from my coach and to the vice principal, who have kind of led me through my entire career to this day. But Hampton, it's I was a military brat, so moving was never a big deal to me. An Army brat. We've lived in California and Germany twice. My family's from Mississippi. I think that story's always been told. Like I'm transient. I can move anywhere and adjust and create community. In basketball and volleyball, I played 2 sports because I didn't know in college you couldn't play 2 sports. These days, to play 2 sports might sound a little crazy, but to play at Hampton, I didn't know it was a Division 1, 2, or 3. I don't think I paid attention to that. I didn't know about the CIAA. I didn't know that. I just knew that Hampton University is where I wanted to go. I knew they had a pretty good women's basketball team. I didn't know much about their volleyball team, but when I got on campus and found out that they were building a volleyball team, I tried out and made the team. They didn't have any scholarships. Wow. There were a few basketball players that played as well, so we created the team. And that's kind of what happens in HBCU community. And at the time for women's sports, like you played everything to field teams, right? And you played because you loved the game. And, my parents had to scramble a little bit for me to go to Hampton my freshman year. But I said, if you just let me go, I'll work to get my scholarship. And if I have to pay my rest of the way, I will. I wanted to go to Hampton. And I earned my scholarship after our freshman year. We won the national championship. Now, Kyle, here's a little thing. We were 33-1 that year. I had to tell the student athletes in basketball media, I've never won a basketball CIAA, but we won a national championship in the same year. We lost to Virginia State.
Is that because Virginia State? Okay.
Yeah. But then we got to the first rounds of the playoff and wore everybody out from that point on. And, the CIAA is always this place where you think you're like number one, you're predicted one. That don't mean nothing when the buzzer goes off and you lost the game. So Hampton was a place that I could breathe and I could play 2 sports that I love. And, it took me a minute to get my boots on the ground, if I could say, because, academics was just as important. I'm not sure that I was completely academically ready. I did well. I didn't do well on SAT. So I had to work really hard in the summer to get into Hampton. I had to bypass playing overseas with an all-star team in Colorado, some opportunities that I had because I was a top player in the state. And I foregone all of that so that I could go to summer school and take some additional courses that would be accepted by Hampton so that they would accept me in their school. So look, if you want it, you got to go get it. Sometimes you got to make the sacrifices, and it was worth making those sacrifices to get to the school that I thought I belonged and I could make a name for myself. I played 2 sports, was freshman of the year in volleyball my freshman year and was player of the year my senior year.
Really?
We won a championship my freshman year, and we won a championship my senior year, all conference, all tournament, all 4 years. My jersey's retired for volleyball, number 12. So yeah, I had a great experience, but I tell you, sport is the thing that I would say saved my life and gave me an opportunity to get my college degree. And I don't know what other way it could have happened without it happening that way.
Wow. See, Commissioner, I didn't know.
Al, as much as we talk, I didn't know you didn't know all of that.
I didn't know the volleyball side. I know you balled, right? I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew about the team and everything. But when it came to the volleyball side, no, I had no idea. The thing I love about what you just said, you said sport kind of saved your life, right? And expound on that. What do you mean? How did it save
Yeah.
your life?
So I was talking to the student athletes the other day about, how we compose ourselves. I want to make sure that we're not having fights and all these things.
Yeah.
Our mental wealth and health is so important. We have a consultant that's been coming in and talking to our student athletes, our SAC, our football team in the beginning of the scene to talk about, our composure, our future, and what it looks like when you get in altercations and sometimes we let out in games because we don't have another outlet. For me, the game was the outlet. It wasn't never fighting. It wasn't being in the streets. It was the place where if nobody else could see me outside of the court, it was the place that I was seen because I was an athlete and I was good at the game. I loved the game. I was passionate about it. And also shared with them, no matter where you're from, your background, some of us have been raised maybe in abusive families. Some of us have maybe been abandoned. Some of us may have been orphans. We have all kinds. Some of us may have been in good 2-parent households, and some of us may have been in 2-parent households that were not so good. Like we come from all these different places. And, my growing up and moving all the time and being an only child for 9 years, and then my sister comes, making that adjustment. And, being in a family where my dad was military, it was very strict and it was hard. And so, but my outlet was going out and playing the playground, make sure I got back before the lights came on. All those still applied, but I always carried a ball. I always had a ball. I don't care if it was a glove. I don't care if it was a bat. I don't care if it was a kickball, a football. Like, I just remember my dad coming home and bringing all these toys. I don't know if he thought he wanted me to be a boy or not, but I baton twirled. I loved roller skating. I was a gymnast. I wasn't a great swimmer, but learned how to swim when I almost drowned. My mom put me in bowling, had me in cheer and dance. So I was always an active kid. And I think she saw that it was important for me to have activities and an outlet because it was really hard, like establishing community because we left all the time. So I recognize now, as I'm saying this, I'm probably the first time I'm saying, like, I'm recognizing now that she put me in a space of sports and activity so that I could build community. Because we were moving all the time and having to make those adjustments. So when I say it saved my life, sports always gave me a sense of family and community, right? When I wasn't feeling good about myself, I didn't think I was pretty enough or whatever, sport was the place that if you could beat me, this is where you need to beat me at, on the playground. Boy, girl, didn't matter. And I put my energy and heart in just wanting to be really good at sport and hopefully using it as an avenue to get me out of my home situation, to get me an education. I would watch Final Four, like men's basketball, like all the time, gymnastics and Olympics all the time. I love UNLV. I mean, I lived in Colorado, UNLV, Louisville. You couldn't tell me. I just watched the game. I love to watch the form and how they shot the ball, how they moved the ball. Like, I studied the game so that I could perfect as a point guard. Like, I was fast, I was quick. But then when I got to Hampton, they were fast and quick too. So my game was like almost trash when I got there. I was like, dang, these sisters can ball.
Right?
Yeah, they could ball. And but they helped me recognize.
You were the freshman they called Lil Jacqie.
Yeah, there was 3 Jacqies. I was Little Jack, Jacqie Weish, and Jacqie Dahlberry. Dahlberry was the All-American, All Kodak, Player of the Year, like baller of all ballers. Jacqie Weish was like the baller of the other. She was the senior Jacqie, captain of the team, kept us together. I'm still connected to my teammates and her specifically. Every day there's 4 of us that check in on each other. But I mean, it became family and community. And, without sport, I just don't know, Kyle, if I would have survived without it, honestly. Emotionally, I don't think that I would have survived. Like, it helped me learn confidence about purpose, right? Purpose to love the game, be a good teammate, serve, and it's helped me as a leader, as a commissioner, I believe, as well.
Man, I could see it because being in the position you were in, like you were a trailblazer, and you didn't even recognize you were a trailblazer, being the first Black woman to run a major athletic conference, right? But when you look at all your childhood pictures, it's always with smiles, that big, beautiful smile you have, right? And I could see where your mom did kind of lean on the sports to kind of help you bring out that smile, bring out that character that you have today. And I can see it. It's very important. Yeah.
Well, they called me Smiley when I was a little baby. I went to a daycare at Fort Carson when my dad was stationed there in Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them always calling me Smiley.
That's
Smiley,
awesome.
Smiley. And, my mother always had a big infectious smile too. And I see Simone and I see her with her big infectious smile. And I think it's just a generation of love and that we got from my mom that I've just learned, like, no matter what the circumstances. I think when I say sports saved my life, I had to learn. I smiled a lot on the court, and I was smiling off the court, but not really, I don't want to say genuine. You can smile on the outside and be sad on the inside. I knew how to do that very well.
Yeah.
And it's taken years of just therapy and my relationship with God and surrounding myself with the right people, letting people go, not trying to be a people pleaser, even in this position. Not everybody who says they're on your team is your team, family and friends.
True.
And that's heartbreaking because, when you're a people pleaser and you love community, you want everybody to like you and be on your team. And it's just, sometimes your success makes other people regress and distress. And I've learned that I've received that and accepted that over the last 2 or 3 years, just based on some losses. Even at 56, I'm like, I'm still dealing with this. And the answer is yes. But when you see my smile, it is generally because I do have joy. I've learned how to live in a place where, some things just don't matter. I don't work to serve anybody but the man above who gave me the opportunity. And I have to remind myself, like, why are you upset about such and such? Like, they ain't getting you to heaven. That's why I'll be like, you can't get me to heaven. So I just think keeping things in perspective about being a leader and using all the tools and the challenges of life as a person, and using that as the opportunity in life to be a leader and a good mom and a good person.
Wow. Those are bars, but more than that, guys, if you really listen to it, everybody wants to be ready-made these days, right? Young media guys and young ladies I've mentored. It's not happening fast enough, Mr. Mosley. You just started.
Yeah. It's a lot of that.
You've got to put in the time. You've got to let things work its way through. You've got to let God work on you as well. So go ahead.
I agree. I think there's a lot of that wanting that fast, quick, you want to be a commissioner. Like, you just graduated 2 days ago. Like, I'm 32 years in the game. And I would say, don't be careful for what you ask for, but when you get it, be prepared for what you ask for. Right. Even coming into the role of commissioner, I was not prepared for some of the things that I was dealing with. Like, I thought my EQ was much better than it was. I thought I was prepared emotionally to manage situations personally and professionally. And I wasn't. I mean, I felt like my first 2 years in this role, I almost took myself out. Like, I'm done. Like, this is, I just didn't expect the emotional bandwidth of managing people, and some mean people, right? Women, Black women. That's been the most disheartening for me in this profession. We say we stick together. No, we don't. Not everybody does. Family and friends and professionals.
Same here.
No. And I think, part of getting ready is that mental toughness. Like, if you are an athlete, you know, and you think you're ready to be on the starting five, but every time somebody bump you, you crying, or you can't get up, or you forget the play, like you're not ready, right? And there's nothing wrong with having tears and all that other stuff, but you got to figure out how you're going to get yourself together to be prepared and remember the play when it's ready, right? You can do all that other stuff, but right now we got to win the game. So winning the game on the court is no different than winning the game in life. You got to go through some things. You got to learn the plays. You got to learn the people. You got to learn how to be okay with losing sometime. I still say, even to my team, you know, sometimes I used to say, you know, we can't win. Like no matter what we do, we'll never win. I disagree with that. Whatever we do, we always winning. It may not be winning for you because it didn't fit what you needed, but it's winning because we made the decision what was best for the organization, or the best that I made for myself. So you might not be winning because you ain't in my space anymore, but I'm winning because I got obstacles. I mean, not obstacles. I got boundaries, and I'm good. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Boundaries mean all the world of difference the older I get.
Everything.
Boundaries.
Everything. I mean, you don't get to be. I mean, you can't have a story without having boundaries, but also sometimes the boundaries make your story.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't, because you got to recognize what the boundaries are. That's the thing. Like sometimes you don't know that you don't have boundaries until X, Y, and Z happens, or till somebody says something, and then you recognize, like, how do I manage this? And that's, you know, making professional decisions and personal. Like boundaries are important to our mental space and our hearts. And I'm in the mode where my heart is more important than anything right now, because when my heart is good, I'm good with everything else around me.
Yeah, that's so very true. When I went through my fight with prostate cancer, and a few months after that treatment, I had emergency gallbladder surgery. Then I had to deal with my son leaving to go to college. I was like by myself almost, you know.
Yeah.
What do I do? And then, like you said, you start learning that people who said they were on your side really weren't on your side. They were only there for the check, or they only were there for what you can do for them. And when you learn that later, it wasn't more of a hurtful thing. It was okay, God, thank you. Let me move on to the next step.
Kyle,
earlier years, I would have hung on to that.
You would have, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I told my pastor, he's our chaplain to the conference, and I said, I think I'm gonna have to stop praying and asking God for some of this stuff, because he keeps showing up and it's making me nervous. I literally said, Lord, if this is an obstacle, remove it. He removes it. Lord, if I need to reconcile in any way with this person or that person because I'm in the wrong, then show me. And then he shows me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like he is like clearing things. And it ain't even like like I prayed about it yesterday and it's happening today. That's what's weird. And I think, but that comes with maturity, Kyle. Like you went through your situation, you had time to think, you had time to pray, you had time to reminisce on your life, and thank God you're still here, right? And so when you get that second and third and fourth chance, you can't take that for granted. And not everybody belongs in that. Not in my story, not in your story, not in leadership, not in my family. And is it sad? Absolutely. I didn't know you could mourn people when they were alive. I didn't connect that until 2 years ago when my sister passed and I lost a relationship and, you know, another distant relationship. And I've been mourning those situations, all three. It all happened. You know, they say you lose people in threes. I lost one, my sister, but then I lost two others that are still here. And it's just weird to go through that process and transition of creating boundaries for yourself and now not allowing folks to take advantage of your heart and your space, and being okay with it. I'm not sure I'm still okay with it yet, but I'm learning.
It's okay not to be okay. You know that, right?
Yeah. But I'm learning how to process it, pray about it, and, you know, get up and let's make the next move. Let's go. and pray for them too, right? So it's but I'm just thankful that you've gotten through yours. And you know what? When our kids do go to college, it is something.
It is.
I told Simone, you need to be a flight away. The girl is an hour and 10 minutes from me. I'm like,
well, look, my son is in New York. He's in New York. So
Yeah.
From Houston to New York is more than a flight away, but it's funny. And I never said this openly because I had to come back earlier after we dropped him off at AMDA.
yeah.
And we were in the hotel lobby. And I had to get back to New Orleans to cover the Saints game. That's what it was. And I can only leave out that Saturday before because if I left Sunday, I wouldn't miss the game. So long story short, I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
And I did. Yes, I did, guys.
That's okay.
I cried like a baby from the Uber ride all the way to
I love it.
LaGuardia, right? And his mother was on the phone with me because she was upstairs on the phone. She called me. She said, "You okay?" I was like, "No, I'm not." No. Well, and she laughed at me and she said, "You big old baby." And she called me names. But you know what? She cried too.
I know.
A couple of days later. So,
I mean, but here's the blessing with that. I mean, you have that relationship with your child, and that's special.
yeah,
And
that's my boy,
but
Bubba. I call him Bubba.
yeah, and Simone, she's my lovey, my beloved. What I said to her, my job was to prepare you to fly your wings, and you always have a place to come.
Right.
You just can't stay for a long time.
No, you can't stay.
But
Yeah.
the fact that our kids are blossoming and they're able to go the length of where they are, I mean, high five, Daddy.
Yeah, thank
High
you.
five,
Thank you.
Mommy.
And same high five to you as well.
Yeah.
All right. Look, man, because this is great. This is great. Emotional support, and you kind of touched on this, and we've had some unfortunate incidences in HBCU football when it comes to the brawls. And this is not anything new because sports is going to have that, right? And I think there were a couple last season and the season before, especially in SWAC. In talking to the student athletes yourself, and possibly the psychologists and people who are coming in to help with counseling, is it because they needed, like you say, they needed an outlet and just didn't know how to process it correctly? Or is there some other outside elements that are really contributing to this?
I think it's all of it. I mean, it's hard to get in the minds of young people these days when the world just seems, I mean, you can't even watch TV, you can't watch the news, and you see all kind of stuff that's happening. I mean, it affects me. It makes me feel some way, you know?
Yeah, it does.
And if you haven't given the tools, or you're not able to communicate or express, or you don't feel like you can, a lot of us internalize emotions anyways. And like I said, sport was the outlet. I just knew I wasn't going to fight. Were there times I wanted to? Probably not, but I had teammates who did, because they didn't, that was a place where they could let it all go and let it out. One of the athletes asked me, they were saying in our session, like, so you telling me like if you know, a player on another team hits my teammate, we're not supposed to get up and go get them, like, because it's a brotherhood, like we're supposed to. And I said, you could, but there'll be consequences to that. And you got to think about what the consequences are. Those young people who are fighting these days, I mean, assault charges, it's not just you fought on the field. Some of them are going to get charged with assault. Some of them might have some jail time and fines outside of the fines that you're already going to get with your conferences, or you might get kicked out of school, depending on the severity of what it was.
Lose your scholarship.
Lose your scholarship. So you got to think about, like I said, you got to think about, are you okay with the outcome and the consequence? And was it worth it? I mean, that's the piece. I told them when I was at Hampton, the year that we lost the one game, but it was against Norfolk State. Our team cleared the bench, but the freshmen, we were at the end of the bench. So we were told, like, stay, and I'm not leaving because I'm still trying to get my scholarship. I'm a walk-on, okay? But we wanted to go out there and help I don't think we wanted to fight. We just wanted to help, but we were told not to move and we didn't. And the coaches and the other people, separated the team and we were fine. But you just got to think about what you want those consequences to be. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It happens in games all the time. I think,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, it's hard when it happens at our HBCUs because it appears like we're the only ones that it's happening at, and that's not true. But how we manage it as conference leagues and working with our institutions to notify these young people, like if you do get into an altercation, here's what the potential outcomes could be. And what I've told them, like we doubling, tripling, fines, you may not get to play over a period of time. Like, I don't want that for you. Like,
Right.
I want you to represent our conference in the best way that you can. And so we'll keep talking to them, and things happen. I get it. Emotions get high. When you think about football, like, you already going out as the aggressor, right? So how can you not want to just put a little bit more dab and stab in that when you tackle somebody? But there are consequences beyond playing what the game counts for. So
look, and I grew up the same way, man. In our hood, you come into Voscoville, you can't be talking noise, right? We're gonna have to do something about this.
Yeah,
right?
you might fight. We might fight internally, but you ain't coming on the outside fighting.
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna battle some way.
Yeah.
You guys want to play some football? We're gonna
Yeah.
play some football.
Yeah.
You guys want to play some b-ball? We're gonna play some basketball.
Right.
But you ain't gonna talk noise to us. Not
Yeah.
in our hood.
Yeah.
You coming into our spot. So I understand that, but the emotions kind of get caught up. And what I was concerned with is that some of the young men in the video that I saw from a different conference, they were not listening to the coaches. That was the concern I had.
Yeah.
And not to belabor the point, but that was just something that I noticed. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think so just think, Kyle, like when you're in the
Heat of the moment.
your mental is a big thing. Like when we had an athlete about a month ago from St. Aug, was it Devon? He played basketball. I can see his smile. He didn't attempt suicide. He completed suicide. And he was a young man with a beautiful smile. And some of the players, they all remember him. Like he played in our conference.
Yeah.
And it goes again, like folks who've never thought about taking themselves out of the world, it's dark place. So when you're fighting or you're in an emotional place that you can't hear a coach tell you to move and get off the field, all you know is to fight and flight. Like it's on. And I think we just get out of character. When we get out of character real fast, we forget who we are and where we are. And it's hard to pull people back. That's no excuse at all. That just tells you that there has to be more work around mental wellness, mental health, managing conflict. When you're in those situations, how to take steps back, how to take deep breaths, right? Not to put yourself in situation, because that could happen off the field. And it's happened off the field. I mean, we're watching news now, like something could happen and somebody says something to you and you get triggered, right? So
right.
I think it's just more work we have to do. That's all.
All right, couple of questions. I know that I'm trying to get in. I want to be respectful of your time, Commissioner. These bomb threats, explosive threats, have they affected any of the CIAA campuses?
Yeah, they feels like every day. I was at Bowie State this past weekend and they had a couple of threats in their library and had to lock down campus. I didn't hear that national wide, but the security was much tighter when we got to the game, and where we could enter into the game, even as a VIP or, the commissioner, very respectful on that. Virginia State, I guess it was the first couple of weeks of school. They were one that had, they were in that list of 3 or 4 schools that had a threat. And these are real things, like they're happening. It's not, when you talk to the presidents or you're in touch with them, like these are real-time things that are happening. And that's scary. Outside of a few of the shootings that we've had on campus this weekend, You know, my understanding, like at Virginia State, they weren't nobody on the campus. It was outside the campus, but it was near the campus, right? So you have these things that are happening around in your community, near your school, that gets attached to you, and there's nothing you can do about that. I just think we're just in a different world right now.
Yeah, and what concerns me is the conservative media has picked up on some of these incidences and have spent it to attach to HBCUs. Like there was a Bro Bible was one, New York Post was another, especially they had one in Montgomery after the Tuskegee Morehouse Classic, right? They tried to connect two warring fractions and connect that to a HBCU. Had nothing to do with an HBCU. South Carolina State, lives were lost. A young lady and someone else lost their life, but it had nothing to do with the HBCU. It was a part of the whole, I guess, homecoming festivities situation where people come in and they're just there. So it's how we handling those situations is going to be very instrumental how we go forward as well, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to bring those two up. Now, I want to get with you because you always give us a great perspective on what's happening with the four. You, Dr. McClellan, and Sonia Stills, as well as Dr. Holloman. You guys sent a letter, just a recent letter, to address the SCORE, the SCORE Act that's coming up. And in your letter, you express a strong support for SCORE, particularly in protecting the student athletes, right? So when it comes to that, how do you see all of this affecting the future of athletics in HBCUs?
Well, it's already affected. Like this whole, the intervention to me of federal has already affected, you know, and these lawsuits that are always continuous and will forever be continuous, whether we're in them or not. I mean, our Division I colleagues, HBCU colleagues, are part of this lawsuit, and they're having to have a tremendous amount of resources to manage that. Our MEAC schools and SWAC schools, institutions, are having to have tremendous resources to deal with this lawsuit. Division II, Anthony and I don't have that situation, but the funnel down is that we're all HBCUs, so a lot of people don't know like who's in our HBCUs. They just lump us all together. They know the brand. And so I think our collective one is to making sure that, you know, when we see this legislation, we're trying to protect as best as we can the employment piece. Like we are just trying to have games and do the things that we're doing. Now, if we got to play student athletes, it just changes the whole business model for us. We need protections to not have lawsuits and be counted in that. Like, and we need more funding as well. Like if all these are going to change and you're trying to make an equal playing field, we'll never be on the equal playing field. We never have been. Our athletes and these transfer rules and NIL, our kids are leaving us and going to other D1 schools or getting in the portal thinking they're going to D1 schools. In D2, they're leaving us going to D1 and maybe HBCU D1s. But I think we're just trying to advocate as best as we can a way to stabilize our HBCU conferences. I mean, you know, the SCORE Act it's not a perfect, nothing's perfect in these rules. But like I said before, when we make decisions, we're trying to make it for the broader. And it may not work everything for us individually, but for the broader, it's better for college athletics. There's a new act that came out. I think it's the SAFE Act, I think it's a SAFE Act. We're reviewing that as well. It doesn't have as many parameters as the SCORE Act does, but it doesn't have as many protections as we need that the SCORE Act has. So we're trying to evaluate all of that. I think we're still more on the SCORE Act because it has more protections and it does what we need to do to stabilize our HBCUs.
Okay. All right. Good. Let's talk about something fun. The basketball season has kicked off. You had media days, and I know you guys put on the best conference event postseason event across the board, and is hands down the best, right? At this time, when you're looking at how well you guys did last year, and you signed a new agreement to stay in Baltimore, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at your tenure there, and as well as what's going to happen in 2026, talk about that and why people should be ready to get their tickets ahead of time for the event in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, getting your tickets early, you're going to get the best bet for, you're going to get your best money for a week-long ticket or a day session, because all of our promotions are now. I mean, we're really trying to give as many promotions and get people thinking about preparing for February, because once February gets here, those promotions will be gone. You'll be paying the higher rate for the tickets, and our tickets for a whole week is not that much. I mean, you can sit on the floor for $400. Like I buy 2 tickets, right, for 7 days or 5 days or 6 days. How many days were there? I mean, it covers you to watch 22 games. So, I mean, the earlier you get, the better promotions and discounts that you get. But if you don't, you're still getting a reasonable ticket for our session. We no longer sell the requirement you got to buy an all-week ticket. We have broken up in sessions, so now you have better options, and you can budget however you want to based on when your teams are playing. I just tell people, like, when people go buy tickets to the Super Bowl or the Final Four, they don't know who's getting in those games. All you know is you need to get your tickets and you need to go. Yeah. And I just pray one day people will see the CIAA, which a lot of our fans do and have caught on to that. Just come, because it is CIAA basketball. It's a staple in the world. It's a place where our athletes want and need the support. It allows for our institutions to have visibility, recruit, an opportunity to fellowship. It's the biggest basketball homecoming ever. It doesn't matter if you went to a CIAA. I will tell you, last year, Kyle, at the tournament, given, the election and the transition and what was going on in the world, that whole week was probably the best and calmest week. And all the stories told were the right stories. And I think all of us needed, including presidents, a breath away from what was happening outside of our walls. Like, we literally protected the legacy and the leadership in the community for the CIAA that week. So yeah, get your tickets and come feel loved on, appreciated. I have become a fan of my own tournament. I know I'm the commissioner, but I am truly a fan of the CIAA. I think it is an incredible
It's the bomb.
It is the bomb. Like, when I'm not the commissioner, I'm going to be in the mix. I don't want to tell anybody what to do. I'm going to buy my tickets. I want to sit in my same seats. And I just want to experience what culture feels like in community with our HBCUs. And you don't have to just be Black to come, right? We've got a diverse community that we want to share in the experience of love. Like, it truly is HBCU love. It is. So this smile that I'm looking at myself like, why are you smiling so big? Because I love our HBCUs, all 4 of our conferences. But because I'm a product of the CIAA, I played in the CIAA, I've worked and I've coached, I've done all of that. This is a special place, and you should just want to be a part of it because it's special.
Yeah. CIAA, you guys are doing some big things on the football field as well. So before we go, we got to talk about this. There's usually that annual battle, CIAA versus SIAC. Are you whooping up on Dr. Holloman and those guys?
Man, I think they're one up on us. We're like, at the beginning, like, okay, we got 2 more games left. Like, we're 3-3. I think he's up on me this year. So it's we've had some good. It's kind of been our dream to make sure that we have these rival schedules. With football, basketball, really having that HBCU collective, like that's part of the alliance, and how can we uplift each other in these games. And with football, it's been fun. We've had more games. I think we had 7 or 8 games this year against CIAA and SIAC, and the Black College Hall of Fame is the bigger one because it's sponsored by Canton, and the NFL Black College Hall of Fame is involved, and both of our champions were in that game. So that's always been, how do we get our champions and the right teams won to be in that game? So it's good. And, since Anthony or Dr. Holloman's been there, he made some shifts on his rankings and ratings for football, they got rid of divisions. I had been wanting to do that. Our conference had not been ready to do that. They like to get their northern and southern trophies, and some of our coaches' contracts are built in winning the North and the South. So for the last couple of years, and it's a big deal to win a Northern division, even if you haven't won the CIAA championship, to be the top in that division. So we've gotten rid of the divisions. This is the second year. I'm excited about it. I think I thought our tiebreaker was already cleaned up. It's not cleaned up when you're part of the tiebreaker. You know that, right?
Yeah, I got you.
But we've given much clarity.
Now we have some mess. We got to clean this up, Commissioner.
Yes. When we already know it's cleaned up, it just didn't fit how you thought it was going to fit. But I love my conference. We've had great dialogue. Just make sure that the fans and the coaches have clarity on what tiebreakers look like and how it's very defined by this way. I'm hoping there's not a lot of ties, but it's been fun watching football. Johnson C. Smith, I'm just impressed with Coach Flowers and what he's doing.
Yes.
Virginia Union, obviously, Coach Parker is still leading. Dr. Parker. But we're going to see how this plays out, because they're kind of beating up on each other, and some teams are rising up. We're in week 7. This is the third conference scheduled game, so we're getting closer to see where people are going to fall out. But we're in Durham. We hadn't been back to Durham in 10 years, so we're coming back
that's where
to
the
North
championship
Carolina.
is going to be in Durham. All right, good.
Yeah, so we'll be there for our championship. Durham Sports Commission has been awesome. Shaw University is our host institution, and we're hoping to, at some point, build this to be a conference biggest homecoming championship. So we'll see how we get there.
Yeah. Well, congratulations ahead of time. I know it's going to be great, especially with, like you say, Johnson C. Smith. Union's always in the mix. Can Dr. Henry Frazier get those Virginia State guys, those Trojans, back into the competition? It's kind of been a strange year. So we have seen a lot of teams, even in the SWAC, teams we wouldn't have thought about, or I like to say thunk about, that are up there competing and contending. So
they are.
It should be great.
Good thing.
Are you going to?
Yeah,
it's a great thing.
I said it's a good thing to see that, right?
Yeah. And are you going to be at the Las Vegas HBCU Classic?
No, I won't be there.
Okay.
It's hard to get to those things. I won't be there, but that'll be fun.
Okay. Just curious. All right. Commish, any last thoughts or anything else I may have left out you'd like to share with everyone?
No, Kyle, I think you always hit all the one. You get to let me tell my own story, too, talk about the CIAA, and just talk about life in general. Like this business is, I would like to say, it's getting easier. It's getting more complicated, but I do think, as I would say in the CIAA, if we just focus on what our priorities are with these student athletes and our mission and our legacy, we're going to be okay. Like we've had a lot and we've had none. But what we have done really well is stay true to who we are as a conference, and for me to stay true to who I am as a leader. So I thank you for having me on your platform. It's a blessing and an honor.
Okay, so let's just get this out of the way once and for all. We're family.
We are family.
Okay, all right. So
we are.
I'm like Bernie Mac. You've been here one time. We're family. Sit back, kick off your shoes.
Sometimes, Kyle, family don't want you to come back. Now, family can be like brutal, but you're not.
That's what my family tells me about myself all the time. And I was like, my family in Norfolk, I say, man, you guys had a party? Oh, we forgot to tell you, Kyle. No, I wasn't coming in.
You're so busy. They didn't think you could come.
Yeah, right. Well, Commissioner, I appreciate you so much. Congratulations on the work with the CIAA. 13 years. Congratulations there. That is tremendous. I'm going to make you guys laugh. I got to put Commissioner on blast on this one. I went to go ask her to be able to talk to me about 13 years. She said, you have to go through my team. Now, I was like, Oh,
Yes, I have a squad. Thank you very much.
look at my
Kyle, this is the
team.
problem. Here's the thing. I am a horrible scheduler. And I try to do my own stuff and it never fails. I have overbooked. I have forgotten. So you are safer with them than you are with me on the schedule.
Okay, all right.
That's what family does. Your family protects you. I'm just trying to protect you, bro. That's all.
All right. I received that. I received that.
I'm just telling you, because you might have been today and you might have been on here by yourself. Because I just, it's crazy.
That has happened to me before. That's all
well,
right.
I appreciate you.
You're welcome, Commissioner. That's Commissioner McWilliams Parker. Tell everybody how they can be able to find you out there on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, so you can go to CIAAtournament.org. Obviously, that's where our platform is, all CIAA, where our staff and team and directory. We're on all social media handles, the CIAA. We're on LinkedIn, where we make a lot of connections. So follow us. We have great content. I think we're leading in our social media in division, not leading in Division I, but we're in the top 20 or 30 in our social media for what we do. I have a great team, content managers. We're just fun. And then you can follow me at CIAA Commish on all of the Instagram. I'm even on TikTok, Kyle. Can you believe that? I'm on TikTok.
Yeah, my son got me on TikTok. I was like, okay, and what's this talkie tick thing you got?
Yes, it's getting fun. I think I'm catching on a little. My team they give me advice and stuff, but then I'm like, I got this. So, but yeah, I'm up there. I love social media. I love telling stories of my team and the people that I'm with. We even did the dance challenge with the athletic directors on my social media. So that's funny. Check that out, Kyle. You'll be tickled.
Yeah. And you have some good ones on Facebook with your family behind the scenes, showing your family, your daughter, your husband, and everybody.
Yeah.
So it's some good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you,
guys. That's Commissioner McWilliams Parker. Go ahead and follow her, follow the CIAA, check them out, see what they're doing. Get your tickets ahead of time for this conference that's going to be in Baltimore in February, right?
February.
And also just support. If you can't be there in the seats, send some money, help them out, and be able to bless some student athletes who need to be blessed in this space. You can check me out at HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, and you can go to hbculegends.net to be able to follow our SI articles. I'm Kyle T. Mosley. That's Commissioner McWilliams Parker. Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate you always. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you too.
You're welcome. Take care now.